Okay, we're going to talk today about arcs and angles. And the basic terminology of an angle is that it has two sides, which are both rays. A ray is a part of a line segment that has one beginning and it goes through another point and keeps on going forever. So you have two rays that form an angle. They both meet at one starting point. That's called the vertex of the angle. And for the pre-calculus class, we're going to say if the angle, for measuring the angle from, most of the time we start with zero angles going straight off to the right. And if we go clockwise around, it's a negative. If we go from the starting side here is pretty much the initial side to the terminal side when we end at. If we go counterclockwise, if we go clockwise, it's a negative angle. If we go counterclockwise, which is the way we normally measure an angle, we get a positive angle. Even though they're both the same angles, one has a negative value, one will have a positive value, just depending on which way we go from the initial side. Okay, so the Babylonians developed this about 4,000 years ago, broke up the circle into 360 parts, called those degrees. Um, there are 360 degrees in one rotation. Acute angles are between 0 and 90. Acute little angles, right angles are exactly 90. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 but less than 180. It's kind of obtuse, it's obese, that's how I remember it. Straight angles exactly 90. Complementary and supplementary. If two angles add up to 90, they're complementary. If two angles add up to 180, they're supplementary. C comes before S. 90 comes before 180, so they're in alphabetical and numeric order. That's how I remember those. And you'll have some problems where you have to find the complementary and supplementary angles from each one. But if you remember those definitions, it shouldn't be too bad. Degrees are also divided into minutes and seconds. 1 minute is like on the clock, where 1 minute is 1/60th of an hour. 1 minute in degrees is 1/60th of a degree. And 1 second, like seconds, are 1/60th of a minute. Same thing here. And so if we're looking back at degrees, 1/60th of a degree is a minute. 1/360th is a degree. That's a second, I mean. So if we perform calculations, if we add or subtract these numbers, especially if we subtract them, when we borrow or something from this side, if this was subtraction, we would have to change this into a 50 and put this and add 60 to this. So it'd be 89 instead of 29 here. So we'd be 89, then we do the subtraction. Okay, your calculator can do these also, so we'll talk about that in a minute. I'll talk about it right now, I guess. Calculator can do these um, problems where you have minutes and degrees. So if you have 84, and if you put it in the second and the angle button, it's the same as the apps key. It's the second, it's the blue over that apps key. You get a degree. And if you want to put in the minutes, 18 minutes. Oops, I put in too much. 18 and second minutes is the 2. Okay, and then if you want to put in seconds, so seconds is not on the angle menu. Don't ask me why. Don't know why. So 36, and then I put in, instead of the second key is over here on the plus key, but you have to use the alpha to get that, the second quotes. Okay, so if we do subtract, and then if we do like 56 degrees, and we do, I don't know, 45 minutes, and we'll do, I don't know, 18 seconds. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Sorry about that. I wanted to get over here. 18, I gotta do the alpha and the seconds. Okay, so hit enter and it gets this decimal number like this. So it does this, divide minus that, it goes to a decimal degree. And to get it back to degrees, minutes, and seconds, we go back to the angle menu, and this DMS means degrees, angles, minutes. Degrees, minutes, seconds, I mean. It puts it back into degrees, minutes, seconds that we can use. Okay, so you got enough to go with by now. All right, so we'll start it again here. And that's what we just did here. We converted this back and forth. And if you want to convert that to decimal degrees, you can do it like this, where they divide the 8 minutes divided by 60 and the 14 divided by 360. Add those decimals up. Just put in your calculator, hit enter. It'll change those to decimal degrees. If you want to change the decimal degrees to seconds, use the DMS on the angle menu. Okay, so this is the way we do it by hand, or they show you here the graphing calculator solution. We put it in here. Yeah. What did they do? They just enter, and you got this, which is 8 degrees, 74 degrees, 8 minutes, 14 seconds, right? So we put that in, and I don't know what the difference is between those two, the first two there, but we want to change these back to degrees, minutes, seconds. We can certainly do it this way. Okay, we put the DMS in. Quadrangle, quadrangle angles are angles in the standard position with the vertex at the origin. Okay, so the initial side is always straight off to the right. Okay, always going on the x-axis straight off to the positive side here. And the terminal side is either going in a positive direction around this way, or it can go in a negative direction clockwise around like that. Okay, so coterminal angles are angles that end at the same place. Okay, so if we go around once on here, we get 420 and 60 are the same angle. If we go around 2 or 3 times, we get 830 and 110, same angle. Where if we drew 830 and 110, they'd look exactly the same. But 830 has gone around the circle a couple more times. Okay, so find the angles of the smallest possible coterminal of each one. So to do that, we just keep subtracting or adding 360 each time until we get an angle that's between 0 and 360. So for the 980, we would subtract 360 twice and get 188. For the 75, we would add 360 and get 285. Okay, so we just add or subtract 360 as many times as we need. Radian measure. The important part of this chapter is radian measure. We're going to be using those a lot. So this is the definition of what a radian is. It's an angle with its vertex at the center of a circle that represents an arc on the circle. This R is the arc on the circle that is equal to the radius of a circle, and that's 1 radian. So we always use a circle with a radius of 1. So this 1 radian would be if we went 1 unit on the edge of the circle that would be 1 radian measure. If we go all the way around the circle, we get, of course, the circumference of the circle, which is 2 pi r. And in this chapter, we're using the radius equals 1, so the circumference is 2 pi. So 360 and 2 pi are the same measure. But remember, the radians is actually, the degree part is like a measurement. It's like it's divided into 360, but the radians is actually a physical measurement of how far around the circle we went. Okay, but they're related by this. The 360 equals 2 pi and the 180 equals pi. So to change back and forth, we multiply the radian measure by 180 over pi, convert it to degrees, and we do degrees, we do pi over 180. That means from degrees to radians, we do pi over 180. And just reduce the fraction. And we usually use a pi over some number is usually how we do it. Okay, to do it, if you want to convert this to radians, you got to put the calculator in radian mode, the degrees to radians. So 45 degrees is this, pi over 4 is 45 degrees, the same thing. So we put the 249 I put a degree sign after it from the angle menu, hit enter, and we get the radians. Okay, so that's converting degrees to radians. To convert the radians to degrees, we put the calculator in degree mode, and then on the angle menu, on the menu here, the angle menu is this little R that converts it back to radians. Okay, so that's what you use, but you have to be in the degree mode to go from these radians to degrees. Okay. Okay, so the exact values are here on the what the radians and degrees, how they relate around the unit circle here. And you'll get in the next section, we'll go over these in much more detail. So I'll just leave it like this for now. And we'll stop the video here, and this will be it for this one. I'll break this video up into 2 parts. So answer the questions on the form below, and I'll see you guys in class tomorrow.